Europcar, who did get their invite to the Tour de France yesterday. Certainly expecting them, the most competitive pro-continental French team. Andrew Talansky was confirmed as leader this week for Garmin. Ryder Hagestad climbed off a couple of days ago. He's going to prepare his Giro d'Italia. Race that begins next weekend. The world of cycling off to Naples. Expect the most difficult tests to come in the Dolomites and the Alps as they head to the third week. Now Leo Vestra heads his way towards the end, looking to make sure that he gets onto the podium at the moment. It's going to be hard to maintain that position with some decent time trialists still to come, but the Dutch champion at the moment looking good for third. And it's that position that he secures as things stand. 35.82 seconds down on the best time of the day so far, set by Tony Martin. Leo Vestra is very much a spinner of the pedals as opposed to a man who pedals in big gears.
That's a very good time by Westra, the Dutch champion, and he not only can time trial in the flat, which he's shown us today, he can time trial uphill. Last year, very good time trial in the Col d'Huez and the Paris-Nice, so very good rider. And yeah, expecting a wee bit more from him yesterday, maybe the weather, but very good effort today.
On we move to Wilco Kelderman, 8th as it stands, but he will be thinking of the white jersey here. He's a 1 second down off Thibaut Pinot, who's worn the jersey since the prologue uphill time trial. And Wilco Kelderman, who performed so well in the Tour of California last year and is following a promising upward trajectory as a rider, could take another big step forward here today. He's a man who's comfortable uphill, classy on the climbs, and very much able on the time trial bike. Comparing Pinot and Kelderman's time trialing abilities, you'd have to think it's certainly more than possible for Kelderman here today. Yeah. Top common man in the race this week, Tom Danielson. Experienced rider for the Garmin Shop team, who were based in Girona in Spain, in the northeast in Catalonia, but have their home in Colorado. Here's Pierre Rolland, who's been following nice and closely on his way around this 18.7 kilometre time trial. And the Frenchman comes in at 1 minute 42 down.
C'est un constat qui est quand même assez douloureux parce que 1 minute 42 de retard sur 18 km, sur le cross, qui est l'ascension du programme, par rapport à des spécialistes, c'est beaucoup.
Mais c'est aussi parfois des contre-la-montre qui arrivent après 2 semaines et demie en France de course.
So on with Danielson, 7th as it stands in the overall. Over a minute back, as far as Danielson's concerned here. Perhaps a cheeky attempt to get in the top 5 or at least conserve his GC placing.
Yeah, probably more suited to a mountain time trial, but has produced some good time trials in the past. Very talented rider, and you know, with a lot of experience. And yeah, every rider that we're seeing now from now on will have to try and battle to stay inside the top 10 and try and get as far up as possible. This is another man that wants to try and battle, and he's not too far away from, you know, the a podium position. Really depends on how Spielek goes today. I think he'll hold on to possibly second, but there's a great battle out there for the third place in the podium.
The man nicknamed the Green Bullet, Alejandro Valverde. As the provisional standings for today, Marco Pinotti running at the top 10. Not really been with it this week, but he's still recovering. Tony Martin leads by 16 seconds from Adriano Malori. Leo Vestra in third place, but a couple of riders still to come. Svein Tuff's early time, we thought he might be a threat overall today, but at the moment he's been put down into 8th place. Thibaut Pinot for Française des Jeux, beginning the defence of the white jersey, is held all week long. The white jersey for the best young rider in the race, the best rider 25 and under. He has just 1 second of a margin, though today is a big day for him. Talansky approaching the finish. 13th on the day, 1 minute and 6 down. And again, considering the fact that he has not been feeling well, that's a very good ride. Inside the last kilometre of his ride. Man before him, Talansky, has already come across the line. Brought now into the section that is lined with people watching on the side of the road. Already clear at the bottom. We knew anyway from the intermediate splits that Port wouldn't be up there challenging for the win. But he's certainly riding, I think, a stronger second half of the time trial than how he started. Certainly positions indicate that. Stands ready to come into 5th place at the moment. I suspect he may get knocked down 1 more place, we'll see. Chris Froome's still out there to go, maybe Wilco Kelderman as well. And we know that Jean-Christophe Perrault is also gifted on a TT bike. Port, though, with a solid ride and a solid week, looking after his leader.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these split times for a lot of these climbers like Bettencourt and Martha Weiss. They're losing over 50 seconds at the halfway mark in this time trial, so it just goes to show you, you know, the efforts these riders are giving it 100% to try and stay in the top 10 or get into the top 10, but Tony Martin's time just so much superior. This course really suits him, and it's going to be very difficult for anybody, and I think even Chris Froome to topple Tony Martin's time today.
Alejandro Valverde, you already mentioned his colleague, slightly better placed on GC, the leader for this week. As the week's gone on, is out onto the course. Valverde, the man from Murcia in the southeast of Spain. Just 2 riders remain. Simon Spilak, great win for him yesterday. Said he really enjoyed it in the rain. Certainly not many of his colleagues did, but it was a great win from him. Rode like an absolute machine to the finish. And here he is on the TT bike. A ride today, an attempt to conserve his 2nd place. Here's Kieselowski, who found his progression a little stunted over the last couple of years after showing some very good early promise, the Croatian. Has ridden in Italian teams mostly. Here's Chris Froome then, decked out in his yellow skin suit for today. He won his first stage race in the Tour of Oman earlier this year. He is just an 18.7 kilometre time trial away from taking victory on the general classification in his first World Tour race in the yellow jersey. Simon Spilak, his closest challenger, 47 seconds a day. This is a man we must give credit to. What a start of the season it's been for him. Really lit it up in the Basque Country and has ridden well in the hilly classics too.
Now he's been one of the good riders from Katusha, Moreno as well. You've got obviously Joaquim Rodriguez struggling a wee bit, but yeah, Spilak has always been there, especially in a lot of these hilly races, and a great asset to the team.
Don Danielson coming to the split, 16th, 35.72 seconds. That makes him just slightly faster than Wilco Kelderman we saw not too long ago. Chris Froome trying to become the 3rd Brit in the last 4 stages that have been held in Geneva on the Tour de Romandie to take the win. Mark Cavendish in the prologue 2008, interspersed with Oscar Freire in 2009 for Spain. Ben Swift in the sprint in 2011. Here is Chris Froome at the start in 2013. Leads the general classification by 47 seconds. Now Jurgen van den Broek, man building for the Tour de France as well. 9th on the day, decent from the Lotto man. Sprinting over the line for the Belgian team. So all focus here on the man in yellow. Talked about, of course, his British nationality, but we mustn't forget his Kenyan and African roots. If he does manage to negotiate this successfully, which you'd expect him to do, he would be the first African and first Kenyan-born rider to win this race. And of course a World Tour race, let's not forget. Tony Martin in conversation with his soigneur for Omega Pharma Quick-Step. Perhaps saying Froome out there is the only man who could take the time off him, perhaps.
Well, for me, I think it's still going to be very difficult. I think Tony Martin should win this time trial here in Geneva. Valverde coming up towards the halfway point, and it looks as if he's losing just under 50 seconds. So he's kind of dropping away down and inside the top 10. So maybe he wasn't feeling so good, and Rui Costa was the man that got the final bonuses to put him into the top 3. So Valverde, 50 seconds it is, down in the Tony Martin at the first time check.
Valverde, who will go off for a rest after this race. His preparation is for the Tour de France this year. He will not be riding the Giro d'Italia. Spilak looking down. This is Jean-Christophe Perrault. Again, you can see the French bands on his arm, which indicate that he's a former French national champion in this discipline. And he finishes inside the top 10 for the moment.
You can just see the difference between a lot of these riders, very slight riders, skinny, small riders, compared to the big powerhouse of Tony Martin. And if you're getting in just under 19 kilometres within 1 minute of Tony Martin, you've done very well today.
You talk about the big powerhouses. We saw the biggest of the big powerhouses first out onto the course today. Perhaps the man with the biggest thighs in pro cycling, I think. Absolutely immense to see him powering along at the grand old age of almost 40 now. But Grabs, schooled in the East German way, and has come in and ridden for some of the biggest teams, certainly in time trialling. But Grabs, he unfortunately unable to put in a competitive time today. But it was good to see him out on the course for Omega Pharma Quick-Step.
We're just hearing also that Thibaut Pinot for France said that you're the best young rider in the Tour of Romandie so far this year, coming up towards the first time check at half distance. He's lost about 50 seconds or just over 50 seconds, so compare that to Kelderman at that moment in time. It looks as if Kelderman is looking better for the best young jersey in this year's Tour of Romandie.
That is one to keep watching. This is the GC Joe. Again, we didn't expect there to be too much of a joke. No disrespect to Simon Spilak, this is just the natural realisation of Chris Froome's excellent time trial abilities. But we shall see. Spilak's certainly going to give it his best, no doubt about that for Katusha. Besides, he doesn't need that bottle, and rolls on.
And in fact, when we're looking at Spilak here, Thibaut Pinot came through the time check at 9.65 kilometres at 54 seconds off the fastest time of Tony Martin.
As it stands then, we'll look at Marcel Wies approaching the finish, but Thibaut Pinot in danger of losing his white jersey here on the Tour de Romandie. Wies it is, and he's going to be the last Swiss rider to finish this race. More flag waving. Listen to the crowd as he's welcome home. And well done to Marcel Wies. I Am Cycling complete their first home tour.
And Kieselowski now for Radio Shack Leopard. He is coming up to the intermediate checkpoint in 9.65 kilometres, and he was a rider that was on the attack yesterday, but it looks as if he's losing over 50 seconds already.
Rui Alberto Costa, not to be confused with a footballer of the same name. In fact, he's aware of that, and his Twitter account is Rui Costa Cyclist. The most famous and the most gifted cyclist to come from Portugal. Riding for Movistar. Top Iberian team, so it's almost home for him. Movistar, of course, based in the north of Spain. He was third here last year, he won the Tour de Suisse, so he really enjoyed his time on Swiss roads.
beIN Sports coverage of the 2013 Tour de Romandie continues after a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.